Learning outcomes. From this lesson, you should be able to define an array, explain the purpose of application of arrays, explain the structure of an array. Given a series of 100 numbers, it is easy for you to find the sum of those 100 numbers by using one variable that will hold each number and another variable that will hold the sum. As each number is entered into the variable, it is added to the sum of numbers already entered. This, however, also involves overwriting the previous contents of the variable. For example, sum equals 0. Let's examine the algorithm more closely. All variables represent a memory location, so we have 3 memory locations. The line when sum equals 0 means assign 0 to sum. Counter equals 1 to 100 do. The for loop begins by assigning 1 to the counter and will stop when counter exceeds 100. In other words, the loop runs 100 times. Print, please enter a number. Get a number from the user and store the number in the variable num. Read num. Let's say the user enters 3. Sum equal sum plus num. Observe that the variable num has 3 and sum has 0. Sum now becomes 3. End for. When you encounter end for, the counter is automatically incremented by 1 and then compared to 100 to see if it's greater. Now let's do this 100 times. print the sum is sum. What if we want to know the third number that was entered by the user? What if you want to use all the numbers entered by the user to then do something else? The catch is, we will only find the sum of the 100 numbers entered. As you see, the approach we have been using so far is not just appropriate, as by the end of the calculation, the value that we have in the variable num is the last number entered by the user. What do we do? Well, we could create 100 variables to store each number separately, but this is very tedious, as it would mean that we would have to manually write the addition for all 100 variables. For example, read num1, num2, num3, num4, num100. Sum equals num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num4 plus num5 plus num100. Ouch! This is painfully long. What if there were 1,000 numbers? Then you would have a nightmare. What if we can manipulate 100 values through the use of one single variable? This would allow us to accomplish the task. We would be able to store each 100 number separately and therefore be able to retrieve it after finding the sum. We would be able to use the loop to carry out the sum and therefore remove the tedium of having to manually write 100 additions. To accomplish this, we use an array. An array is a homogeneous data structure that holds an aggregate of data types. Homogeneous means that all the data of the array is of the same data items. Example, integer, real number, string, etc. Aggregate means group or collection. So, an array may more simply be defined as a group or collection of data of the same data type. Structure of an array. An array consists of its elements and its index. Element is the value stored at a particular position in the array. An array of size 5 will contain a maximum of 5 elements. Index is the position in an array where information is stored. In some programming languages, the first element in the array is stored at index 1, while in others, the first element is stored at index 0. We will focus on using index 0 to store our first element. To access any element in the array, we must use the array name and the index where it is located. Therefore, to access element 7, which is located at index 4, we would write numbers square bracket 4, which means at index 4. Let's review. An array is a homogeneous data structure that holds an aggregate of data types. Homogeneous means that all the data of the array is of the same data items. Example, integer, real number, string, etc. Aggregate means group or collection. So, an array may more simply be defined as a group or collection of data of the same data type. An array consists of its elements and its index. Element is the value stored at a particular position in the array. An array of size 5 will contain a maximum of 5 elements. Index is the position in an array where information is stored.